Hey Scott, can you hear me? Just seeing if the microphone works. I don't know what kind of lag there is. Awesome. How have you been? Why, hello, Donna. There's a bit of a lag between when I see your text and when I reply, so I am here. Good to see you. Thanks for swinging by. I've got everything running. I've got the autofocuser set up. I've got the guide camera on. Everything should look really nice as we do these now. I might say I'm almost beginning to be a semi reasonably proficient amateur at this point, I'd like to think. Yeah, we've all heard Carol's voice enough times, but none of the rest of us. So yeah, I know what you mean. It's just me and the echoey kitchen here, but it'll do. See if we can get Flat Out and a couple of the other regulars to hop on. I didn't announce it anywhere. I probably should put it on Twitter real quick while I think of it. So I guess the only real innovation this time around is I stopped being lazy and looked for the way to put on annotations in OBS. So I can now label things down at the bottom so we know what they are without me having to remember when I record or when I split them up later. that's too bad, Scott. Apparently you need to pay off a few people a little bit more. At least I've watched enough Sopranos and other gangster shows to realize that's what you're supposed to do. While it finishes getting dark out here, it is pretty close, but I'm going to jump up to M92, see how that's looking, and then once it gets full dark, we can try a galaxy or something. Actually, to heck with it. Let's try a galaxy now. It's pretty low and still a little bit twilight, but before it sets, let's get the whirlpool galaxy. Um, hmm. I don't know what I can do with it, Donna. Yeah, I can see it's not very loud. Let me check something and I'll see what I can do. Donna, is this any better? I turned it up some, but I don't know how much more I can boost it. Great. Glad that helped. Now I just have to remember to unmute it occasionally. Hello, LCTXT9. Good to see you. We're also in Salt Lake, Donna and me anyway. Scott, I guess you need to move out here. That's where all us cool kids are. Yeah, they're dark enough, at least over here. It's not like the old days where if you had any city lights, you were doomed. With cameras nowadays, it matters, but not quite so much. You can still do a lot of good imaging even under fairly heavy city lights as long as you've got patience. So yeah, as we get a few more images stacked on here, this should smooth out. It's pretty low in the sky though. It's only about 30 degrees up in the sky, so we're getting down into the thicker part of the atmosphere here, which does not help. Not to mention this direction is looking toward the the one neighbor's porch light, so that's not helping either. But he's usually pretty good about turning it off by 10 or 11 p.m. I don't think I'll be still up that late, but you never know. And yeah, Elsie, you mentioned Able 39. I have looked at that before, or looked at it. It is pretty nice. I'll have to see what the last image I took of it ended up like. A lot of those faint planetaries, I have trouble seeing here. I don't have any kind of nebula filters or anything on here, so if they are helped a lot by filters, then I'm kind of out of luck. This is a one-shot color camera I'm using, and so it's not very easy to use filters and get much out of them other than the light pollution filters. Telescope-wise, it is a Tech 160 millimeter, so about 6-inch refractor, and it's a ASI 294 MC Pro camera by ASI. Or excuse me, by ZWO is the company. Yeah, it's a really good refractor. It's well, I've called it my midlife crisis because I don't have the sports car, but I mean it's a bit on the costly side, but it'll probably be the last telescope I ever buy. It's great for well, those are famous last words, but it's great for astrophotography. The only drawback, it's a jack of all trades, good at everything, great at none. It's not a nice wide field like you get with small refractors, and it's also not the best for planets because you don't have really extreme magnification, but it is kind of in a sweet spot where you can do a little bit of everything with it. Let's go up and let's see if we can even see Abel 39 tonight. It's a bit hazy. I noticed the sunset tonight was pretty yellow, but let's see if we can see it. Take me a minute to get moved over and reset all the stacking. This should be about the right area. I don't know if I can see it before I start the stacking. Well, if it's in there, we'll find out here in just a bit. I think that is the center, or I think it is there in the center, that kind of bluish star. satellite going through there, of course. Plenty of them nowadays. So I don't know if the mouse shows up on this other screen or not. I'm recording this a different way than I have in the past, but it is there. I think when we get a few stacks built up, it'll be clearer. But that blue star, just maybe a little bit south of center, south or down and to the right of center, is it. Yeah, it's there. It's dim. As we get a few more frames in there, hopefully it will depixelate that area somewhat. That blue dot in the center is the remnants of the star that exploded. That's basically the hot, extremely blue hot core of the star that's left over. I don't think it's going to get a whole lot better than that. I had to turn the camera gain way up in order to capture this in less than 2 or 3 minutes per frame, because nobody likes just looking at a black screen for 3 minutes. But it is there. That blue halo, that's the nebula we're looking at, Donna. or that is we're trying to look at. The blue dot in the center is the star that blew up, and that faint halo around it is what's left of it. Or that faint halo is the atmosphere, the gases, and everything, the parts of the star that blew up. I think that's about as good as it's going to get. I can make it look ugly, but it wouldn't be very representative. There is a much nicer planetary that isn't quite so exotic that is pretty famous. The Ring Nebula, M57, has come over into the western sky. Let me point that away. If we had another hour to sit here on this, that background would be pretty well smoothed out and you'd be left with a better view of this, but I try to keep moving a bit. 1 second, let's go up to the Ring Nebula. Same kind of object, but it's much clearer what it is. Just going to make sure we're still focused here more or less. It needs a bit of a tweak. As it cools off at night, the glass on the front of the refractor contracts slightly, and that's enough to take it out of focus, so I have to keep shifting it every few minutes. Well, about every 15 minutes. That should be pretty good. So now we can go lower gain, longer time. And start stacking. Sorry, let me do that one more time. That looks better. It still looks like it was moving slightly. I'm going to do one more frame. Either I've got the focus wrong or something is not quite right. Always the problem with doing things live. Hey Chris, how are you, man? Good to see you. Glad you could make it. I'm just busy mucking about here trying to get things focused before I lock onto this. Bear with me. Alright, regardless of how this looks, we're going to go for it. Once it's been out there for a couple of hours and gets down to the outdoor temperature, it's less of a problem, but Better than it was anyway. We'll let it go here. How is your astronomy doing down in Oz there, Chris? Chris is down in Australia. He gets to see lots of things we don't up here. I'm very jealous of many of his objects, but there isn't much in the far northern sky that would make him jealous, really. So here's a poll for the three of you there, or four of you. I have two different screens that have, unfortunately, two different color calibrations, and I can't ever get them to match up properly. Do you guys see? Do you all, Donna? Excuse me, sexism amok here. Do you all see the center of the Ring Nebula more greenish or bluish? Because that's what I see, and I'm trying to figure out which monitor is closer to what everybody else is seeing, so I can use that one for the calibration. Okay, so you see a greeny blue. All right, that helps, because that, I believe, lets me know which colors to correct in the histogram here. So if I turn this level of blue up, now you should see it a bit bluer than it was before. Is that what you see now? It was mostly so I know whether the. Okay, great. Perfect, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that the monitor going to that I am looking at is the correct color compared to the monitor being streamed to YouTube, which is not quite the same. It's a bit on the redder and bluer side to start with. So, all right, excellent. Thank you. So we all like galaxies. Would you like to see the Splinter Galaxy in Draco? NGC 5907. Yes, the purple fringing. That's nothing I can do anything about here while we're just streaming live. That's a correction that usually you can fix later on in post processing, but when we're just live streaming this, it's kind of hard to control, especially on the bright ones. Purple fringing at least lets me know I'm pretty well dead on with the focus, because it's either red or it's blue if I'm out of focus a bit. All right. Coming up. Okay, 45 seconds. I turn the audio off when I'm sitting here munching away or clicking away. Don't worry. And right there, my idiocy. 45 more seconds. I'm sorry. I forgot to start the live stack. The live stack being, if I don't if I don't start that, then you're stuck with one individual frame at a time. And the way this whole process works is you overlay one image on top of the next, to improve the overall image quality. That's better. So this is a galaxy a fair bit like the Milky Way, only seen almost exactly edge on. Chris, you said it's beyond your vanishing point. Have you just tried zooming in more? I mean, I understand that's the solution to everybody's problems, according to some. Donna, since you're unfortunately not initiated into the cult, Chris and myself and a few of the others have had an ongoing little internet, shall we say, parlance with the flat earther community, and yeah, they're a special bunch, but it is entertaining. Yeah, you just need a telescope looking into the eyepiece of another telescope, and I'm sure your problems will be solved. Did you work with an actual flat earther, LCX? That's I don't know whether that would be fun or exasperating. I've only known one. Well, he claims he's a flat earther in real life. I don't know if I believe him, but he runs the script, and so I guess he's legit as anybody. Yeah, telescope stacking. It's like taking a picture of a camera viewfinder through another camera. Was he a chem trailer as well? They do have a lot of overlap in their Venn diagrams, I'm sure. I guess one other galaxy that's nearby this that we could probably get before it gets too low in the haze is M101, the Pinwheel galaxy. It's basically this looking top down instead of edge on. Let's go over and grab that real quick. It's starting to get pretty low. A government microwave image. That's a new one, I have to admit. I have heard them. Excuse me. I have heard them say that all telescopes are programmed, and because they don't understand the difference between the mount being able to point at things automatically and images being automatically generated. Plus, just screams to the fact that they've never actually looked through one. Visually, I mean. Or they would probably know that no, it's not being auto-generated by anything. But I genuinely don't think 90% of them are in it for anything but either just trolling or for some kind of amusement. There may be a few religious disciples out there that are just diehards, but I don't think there's very many. Yeah, it's definitely really hazy out there. Plus, again, I'm pointing at the neighbor's light again. If you can see, it's a little bit more greenish yellow on the left side than the right. I have to set this up out on the deck in order to keep all the cable length short enough to run into the house easily. Someday, and I've been saying this almost since I moved here, I'll convert the shed over into some kind of miniature observatory building of some kind, but I have to tell you, it's so nice being able to just sit here in the kitchen. No mosquitoes, room temperature. Drinks and restroom 10 seconds away. I'm pretty spoiled that way. Yeah, he has lots of juicy tidbits down there. He's got the Southern Cross. He's got another. He's got a bunch of goodies down there. The two Magellanic Clouds. He's got a couple of really great globular clusters. We can't see Omega Centauri here at all. And that goes, well, geez, almost overhead for him. In fact, the center of the galaxy goes pretty much overhead for him. Scott, did the young earther start trying to debate anybody, or was he behaving himself? We haven't had any fundamentalist sorts like that out at any of our star parties that I've actually talked to, but we have had a few moon landing deniers come out. They have said that they believe the distance of the moon, but that the very distance proves that we never went there. That's why this isn't looking as good as I'd hoped either. I forgot to turn on the freaking tracking. Dang it. Or the guiding. You can always tell because these pixels start to move slightly over time. Dang it. Sorry. I'll give myself an F for this one. Going to do one more here in the western half of the sky, and then we can move over. Andromeda is getting pretty high up in the east, so let's get one more here in the west while I'm pointing that direction. M27, the Dumbbell Nebula, and then we'll go over to the other side. Yeah, you know, Donna, I looked this last morning because I was up stupidly late. I set the camera out, my just SLR out. I recorded just a time lapse towards sunrise, and I couldn't see it, and it was supposedly there. But if it was there, it was just too low and too bright to catch. I didn't realize this was so high up. It's almost straight overhead. Sure the focus is still okay. I believe it's looking pretty good. Not forgetting to turn on the guiding this time. Oh no, I didn't. I hadn't been watching the stream. I didn't know it lets you watch all my typos live. That's terrible. I didn't think it showed up until after I hit OK. I think this is about the most star-jammed field of any object I look at normally. And oh, Oh no, believe me, Donna. If you watched me trying to type in the other chat, in the Hummingbird chat, you would pity me. Yeah, Patrick is out here almost every star party, Donna, out at the observatory here at Spock. He usually runs the big refractor out here, and I don't know if he still does the training, but he used to do the training for it. You'll have to come out here some weekend, some Saturday when they're doing one. I don't know how many are left this year. I think there's a couple more in October. I think that's usually about when they shut it down. But yeah, he's still out here. He actually lives pretty close to me here. I think he's maybe just a quarter or half a mile away. I see him walking every once in a while when I have to go out or when I'm coming home from work, and he has a very distinctive walk as well. Very very fast walker. Getting a fair bit of detail in it now, slowly. This one's almost right overhead, so it's pretty nice. And again, uh, that blue dot here in the center is the former star that has exploded and left all those remnants behind. Yeah, even at the best of times, YouTube's compression unfortunately does a number on these, but I have some really good shots of this. This isn't the best night. It's the seeing is pretty poor, but some of these stars are also down to about magnitude 19 or 20 in a lot of cases. Visually, you can see down to magnitude 5 or to 6, probably 5 in the cities, but the best you're going to do. 12 to 13 in a decent sized telescope visually, and then down to 20 in this camera. I think the faintest I've ever visually verified was 21.1, but I don't think it's that clear tonight. But for a 6-inch telescope in your backyard, that would have been unimaginable even 30 years ago. So it's really cool how much technology is done for it. When I was first old enough to actually really be getting into this, everything was still all film. And if you were really, really something special, you had your gas hypering on your old, I don't even remember what film it was. Anyway, that was what everybody was using for astrophotography now and back in the day. Planets in this LC are kind of disappointing because I can't put the Barlow on right now with the camera the way I've got it set up, and they're pretty teeny. You can see them, but it's not the best view you could hope for. Where is Saturn at the moment? High in the southeast. We can maybe try that. You can get an idea of what it looks. The other problem is my view to the south is terrible because it's right over the roof, and so unless it's pretty high up, I can't see things to the south very well. But let's start heading that way because Andromeda's in that part of the sky, and that was going to be next. I have to kind of do this in steps when I go from the west to the east to make sure no cables get tangled as it swings around. This is a pretty far traverse. Hey, there's a man who knows a bit about duct tape. And yeah, unfortunately, Saturn is behind my wall, apparently. So, sorry, I can't see that. 1 second, though. No, sorry. Neptune is behind the wall as well. We can see it again about 2 in the morning when it gets around to the west side. I can see to the southwest, but I don't think either of us will be up. So, while we're here, we'll get Andromeda out of the way. So even with no stacking at all, Andromeda is huge. This one never fails to be anything but beautiful. In 45 seconds. In 45 more seconds, when I remember to click live stack, you have to, please forgive me, this is a lot of windows to juggle. All while trying to very carefully make sure I don't accidentally live stream like my desktop or my email window or who knows what else. Oh, it moved. I wonder what happened. Oh, I guess it had some kind of hiccup. That's no bueno. And yeah, it's way too big to fit in the view in entirety. It would take, probably four shots to get it all into view. I didn't move that thing. Naughty. The text, I meant. Yeah, Elsie, I think it would take probably just about, if I wanted to get everything, including the satellites, I think it would probably take at least that for me. because this field of view is about 1.25 degrees wide by not quite a degree. No, what? Yeah, just a little over 1 degree wide and not quite 1 degree tall. I haven't done a mosaic yet, and really, I don't post process much. I haven't really gotten into using PixInsight or Cyril or some of the other processing software. I have started saving all my frames though, instead of just leaving it up to SharpCap here to stack up. But when I first started doing this, all I was ever doing was just a few live streams and then saving the finished stacks right out of SharpCap. I do need to get into doing some serious processing because I would like to do it with this, with Andromeda, and with some of the larger nebula, the Veil Nebula and North America Nebula, some of the other big ones. Yeah, it really is, Donna. And it used to be a cumbersome process, or well, more than it is now. But there's a lot of very powerful software now that can do this with. They can do it quite quickly and end up with just amazing results, even from just a few photos. You used to have to take dozens and dozens of individual photos and then let the software process it. And now it's just remarkable how much you can get out of a fairly limited number of shots. Now we're starting to get some modeling down here on the lower part of the arm. Some of the big star groups are showing up. Down in here, these bluish regions. I like seeing the detail start showing up in these wispy cloud areas, these dark regions. That's always really fascinating too. NGC 891 is a large and impressive galaxy here right in the vicinity as well. Let's take a look at that. That's another edge-on galaxy, but it's got a large bulge in the center. It looks kind of like a UFO. That's nearby here, I think. Should be high enough. Oh, sorry, that's still pretty low. Let's give that one 5 or 10 minutes to come up a bit higher. In the meantime, let's check out the Pac-Man Nebula. It's not one I've looked at very much. Over in Cassiopeia. I think it's in there. We'll find out. I'm going to do this one for 1 minute exposures because this is a bit fainter. So it'll take it a minute to show up. Literally a minute. Yeah, Donna. So the way this works, the way this software works, is that you take a whole bunch of individual short exposures And by looking at the noise patterns in each individual frame compared to like the stars themselves, it can help smooth out and eliminate the noise from any one individual frame. Like if I zoom this in, you can see how noisy and grainy the image is. And then each frame that comes in, the software analyzes the pattern of that grain. And where there's differences, it can smooth that out or kind of blend it over time. And the main part of the image, you know, the actual stars and the nebula, that will not change from frame to frame. And so those portions begin standing out compared to the noise in the background. So you'll see when the second shot comes in here, this will smooth out quite a bit. So we've got 2 frames in there. The third one is coming in about 15 seconds. And you'll notice a difference in how much, or in how sharp the stars are compared to the background noise. Okay, there it just went. And so over time, when you average up, you know, 10, 20, 30 photos, you get that background really smoothed out, and what you're left with is the actual image signal that you're recording. So rather than having to take one long, hour-long photo that you'd have to struggle to keep focused and keep aligned and without the camera moving, you take a whole bunch of quick individual frames and process them like this. And then in the processing software, there's a whole bunch of sliders that you can adjust, like you're editing a photo in Photoshop or something. You can adjust the individual colors, you can adjust the brightness, the contrast, etc. And in this case, you can do it on the fly. Yeah, so as more time goes by, the background will get less grainy. Well, as much as YouTube's compression will ever let it be smoothed out. I don't know if I can do this without breaking something, but I'm going to try. If I do break something, sorry. I don't know. Maybe I'd better leave well enough alone. I'll throw caution to the wind. Here's the processing window. So you've got a histogram down here that you can adjust these sliders for to make the image brighter and darker. And it's currently recording the next image, coming up here in 10 seconds from when I say this. Oh, no. It's not risking the equipment. It's just, normally I have the image on one screen and this window on the other screen, and overlapping them can sometimes be an adventure. So I can control the camera cooler, everything on here. There's all kinds of enhancements you can turn on and adjust. But this is the main window, and over time, this histogram here is what gets smoother the more images you stack, and that gives you more freedom to adjust the brightness and contrast to get it looking the way you want. There's other much more powerful software out there than this, but that's how that's the easiest way to do it. Put it that way. Yeah, this isn't looking too bad. So now when you zoom in and look close, you can see there's not that pixelization isn't quite as severe as it was before. It's still there, and it would still be there until you stack dozens of individual images. But you get pretty good results in a hurry. Good enough to look at on screen for something like this in a live stream, for sure. Yeah, yeah, those people that submit the professional images that win the astronomy picture of the day type photos. Well, for one, they're in really, really dark places most of the time, but you know they will take 50 to 100 frames in through a red filter, and then they'll take 50 to 100 in a blue filter, and then a green filter, and they overlay all those and do some more magic with them. This is really quick and dirty compared to that. Okay, let's see NGC 891 now. That should be enough time to get it up out of the haze a little bit. Hey, Kat. Thank you. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. And yes, Donna, I've said in the past over there that I tend to run off at the mouth, and I can't help myself sometimes. But you're welcome. I hope it wasn't too overwhelming. And you're right, Chris. Mono imaging, if you have the skies and the patience and the budget, frankly, to do it, is the way to go. That's definitely where the professionals end up taking shots through different filters to get just the right amount of information they want. I don't want to say I don't have the patience for that, but in some ways I really don't. That's a lot of work for me when it's already just going out on the deck for a few fun looks at night and then bring back in. If I had a permanent setup somewhere, it'd be different. This is still pretty low in the sky, so there's a bit of Salt Lake light pollution in there, but it should be okay here after a few minutes. Yeah, and in fact, today you can do this with SLR cameras exactly the same way. You could stick an SLR camera on the back of this, or if you've got a big telephoto lens, it's same process exactly. Um, as long as you can put your camera on a decent mount that can track the stars well, you can use your camera for this just as well as using the telescope for it. Just you got a great big wide field, of course, instead of these zooms. Yeah, the other way I could improve these shots, which I won't do for the live streams, is when I'm taking them just for myself, I turn the gain. It's pretty much the same as the ISO setting on your camera. I turn that way down, and instead of these 1 minute exposures or 30-second exposures, I'll leave it and let it go for 4 minute exposures or 5 minutes. And it's just like with your camera. The lower you keep your ISO setting, the smoother the image is to start with. So there's less noise to average out before you even begin stacking them. But for live streaming here on the web, I have to crank that way up so we get fast views. Well, thanks. Yeah, if you give it long enough, you know, if I were to take hundreds of fast photos, your end result would be close to the same quality as a couple of dozen slower speed, longer exposure photos, but there would still be some noise you'd never get rid of entirely. But for something like this, for just public outreach, for just a quick look around at things, see what they look like, maybe you'll find something you do want to spend a long time on, but for just a quick survey like this, I think these fast exposures look good enough. And again, they do look much nicer on my screen than through YouTube's live streaming. Well, I think M33 is the next big galaxy that's right next door to this. That's always a great view. This one has come through pretty well. Let's go look at M33. Another pinwheel galaxy, but probably more impressive than the first one we looked at. Yeah, noise is the complaint of everybody. Nobody likes that. I'm honestly surprised we haven't really had too many satellites going through. It's been a remarkably streak-free evening so far. Yeah, the Starlinks, you're right, Scott. I think any more problems with the Starlinks would be in the West. We can certainly look at NGC 752 next. I'm not sure if I've ever gotten that one before. This should be looking pretty good here in a minute or two. Yeah, you know, I really like this one. This one's great because there's lots of individual objects even in itself that you can see. You've got these clumps of nebulosity that must just be enormous, absolutely vast in this galaxy, but you know, we can see them even here from little old Earth in the Milky Way. Millions and millions of light years away, we can make out all these huge clumps of nebulas and other features in it. You know, even out here, these blue ones up here along the edges. I think this probably has the most detail of any galaxy I can look at. It's just remarkable how much you can see in it. I jinxed myself. There goes the satellite, of course. Hey, Dave. How are you doing? Good to see you, man. You're in Melbourne, huh? There's someone not too far away from you. Yeah, no worries. We've just been kind of shooting the breeze here. The objects all have names on them now. That will probably help until I stop being lazy and type in the index for it on the replay. Yeah, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Again, once you get a few shots into the stacking, you begin to see all kinds of details beginning to show up in the knots of clouds and nebulas all through here. This, I think, is one I let go for almost an hour one evening, and you get to where you can see I don't know if they're individual stars, but individual star clusters through all these arms really distinctly. And it's even more fascinating when you think it's smaller than your thumbnail held up at arm's length. This view. Yeah, Donna, if you notice that satellite trail on the upper right, when it was really bright originally, the more images that come in over time that don't have that up there, that will get averaged out, and given long enough, that would be almost invisible over time. You know, when you put 10 or 20 more images over top of it that don't include it. Okay, so NGC 752, that is right next door. It's bigger than the field of view that I can get on here, but we'll see what we can of it. We'll see mostly the middle of it. there we are, at least what I can see of it. It extends outside that view. It would look great in an eyepiece. It's really bright. Unfortunately, this doesn't do the best job getting colors on stars unless they're pretty bright. It does okay on some double stars getting the color contrast, but for individual fainter ones, they tend to mostly just end up looking kind of whitish. There are a few clusters out there that do look bluish when they're with their hot stars in them. Let's see if there's another decent cluster here. Well, I know the Perseus double cluster is right here. That's always pretty. I don't know if I can get all that in one view either. I think so. It'll be close. I think this would look pretty good on an eyepiece. These stars are kind of bluish. And I did luck out that I think the double cluster will fit without rotating the camera. It's actually the right alignment, naturally, for once. I don't know what caused that flare on there. I'm gonna restart it. What was it? Might be cloudy out there. 1 second, let me go look. Oh my heck, guys, this might get called off unexpectedly short. It's starting to get some clouds out there. I didn't think it was supposed to have any clouds tonight. I'm gonna restart this and see if we get lucky and dodge them, but yeah, it's starting to get quite a few of them out there. Shoot, y'all, it's definitely starting to get clouded over here. I'm a little surprised. Wasn't supposed to be anything other according to the dark sky planner. Yeah. I mean, this is looking better now temporarily. How long it's gonna last and be clean, I don't know, but we'll take it when we've got it here. I mean, this looks good at least for right now. Yeah, Donna, take a look out your window and see if you can see anything. And yeah, that's the truth, you know. I know there's places that say wait 5 minutes and the weather will change, but sometimes it does sneak up on me here. Yeah, no worries. I was just curious because looking over east over the Ochres, my east, it's there's just some high kind of little stratus looking blobs here and there. To be fair, we have run through most of the really big name objects tonight so far. We're doing pretty good in that regard. Later on, of course, we got the Pleiades and the Orion Nebula, but they don't get up where I can see them until pretty late in the evening. In fact, the Pleiades just cleared the mountains maybe 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes. Yeah, thanks, Elsie. This did turn out really well. I think it's got it up a little bit high on the blue, but it's a little bit excessive. Although they are kind of bluish stars. Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Since it's going to get cloudy, I'm going to bring this in. But if we can see the Pleiades at all, that's always fun. Before we go, they'll be really low and obnoxiously in the haze, but should still see the nebulosity. We'll do that, and then I'll pack it up. It's getting on toward 11 anyway. I know the mountains east of me are about 10 degrees up from what would be a truly flat horizon. And right now the Pleiades are 15 degrees up. So I should be able to see them. I'm gonna try Saturn one more time too. Oh yes, I know. Jeez, I didn't turn off the guiding. Sorry. That's about as good as I can do with you on Saturn. Without the Barlow in, there's just not much detail to see, and it's still slightly behind the roof. But, you know, for what it's worth, there it is. If I turn up the exposure, you can see the moons. So you'd have to get out a chart to tell which moon is which. The bright one is Titan, but as to which all the others are, I couldn't tell you without a chart. But like I say, this neither this scope or this camera was really built for doing the planets. Jupiter looks a little better most of the time. There's enough detail in Jupiter that you can see the bands and the red spot and other, the four big moons. And if I'm really lucky, I can see the fifth and sixth moon, the brightest ones. Yeah, the rings they're getting pretty close to edge on, but they're not quite there yet. The other thing that you do with the planets too is none of the individual frames that are being shown here are necessarily very good, so there's all kinds of stacking techniques to improve the view of the planets, and I have gotten some really nice views of Jupiter and some of the others. Let me see. I've got one of them here. 1 second. Flat Earth. Where is it? This is a picture of Saturn that I've taken with this scope, with the Barlow lens in and when it was high in the sky. So this is the quality I can get, just not tonight. Yeah, you're right, Donna, he really would have. Can you imagine what any of those early pioneer types would think of what we can see now and have seen? All right, let me go to the Pleiades. Well, you got a good view of the clouds drifting by at least. Well, yeah, I guess we might be done pretty quick. I guess the only thing that would be any more fun was pointing at Farnsworth, but I don't know. I'd have to just kind of manually move it to get it to to see Farnsworth Peak. I think it's east and a little bit down, no, north from the Pleiades. One second. Yeah, they're coming in pretty good, unfortunately. I don't think we're going to get a break anytime soon if we just, try to be patient with it. Rats. I was trying to see if I could see the transmitters up on Farnsworth. That's Aldebaran, I believe. Well, I guess I'm not going to find it, so. I think I'm going to call it here, everybody. And, yeah, say goodnight. Oh, there's the mountain. Finally. But I could be here a while trying to find the antennas. I think this is some of them. Anyway, I sure appreciate y'all coming out for a visit with me. Thanks, and yeah, I'll be doing it again sooner or later, maybe next week before the moon gets too high up. We're coming into just about new moon now, so yeah, we'll do it next week, maybe next weekend. Yeah, Donna, great to see you. Thanks for swinging by and hanging around. Elsie, you as well. Chris, all the rest of you, flat out. Scott, appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Have a good night, everybody.